Have you ever wondered why you can't stop thinking about someone? What lies behind this persistence of thoughts, this invisible connection that seems to echo in silence? Throughout our lives, there are moments when certain thoughts seem to appear as if they have a will of their own, especially when they're tied to someone specific. And suddenly, that person starts to inhabit our minds almost continuously, like a song we just can't stop hearing. This phenomenon goes far beyond mere thought. It can reveal something deeply meaningful. In many ways, it's an invitation to explore and understand ourselves on levels that, until now, seemed hidden. Science shows us that everything in the universe is made of energy, and that energy carries information. The thoughts we hold, especially about others, are a subtle exchange of energy and information. They are manifestations of our desires, fears, hopes, and all the emotions we carry. Constantly thinking about someone may reflect unresolved energy, a part of us that, consciously or unconsciously, is still seeking understanding, acceptance, or perhaps even forgiveness. When we fixate on a particular person, there's a deeper reason, one that goes beyond the conscious mind. In a way, we are being called to explore what this connection represents in our journey of growth and transformation. This may relate to something we don't want to face or something we need to understand more deeply about ourselves. The universe, in its vast wisdom, is always sending us messages and signs to guide our path, and these recurring thoughts are one of those messages. They can be an opportunity to become more aware of who we truly are and of the energies we attract and manifest in our lives. This process of self-exploration requires the courage to look beyond the surface and dive deeply into what these connections represent for us. Sometimes, constantly thinking of someone reveals a lesson we need to learn, an experience we need to live, or even a trait of ours that needs healing. It's the universe calling us to let go of fear and attachment and, instead, to observe with complete presence what truly exists behind this feeling. In fact, every thought, every emotion has a frequency, and that frequency connects us to people and circumstances that resonate with it. When we allow ourselves to feel and observe these thoughts without resistance, we begin to unravel their deeper meaning. Ask yourself, why does this person take up so much space in my mind? What do they represent in my journey? It's not about obsession, but an opportunity to align our energy and understand the mirrors the universe presents us. Through these reflections, we find clues to our healing, our growth, and the expansion of our consciousness. When we look at the spiritual meaning of constantly thinking about someone, we need to understand that each thought and emotion carries an energetic signature, a specific frequency that reflects who we are and what we're vibrating at that moment. What we think and feel, especially about another person, is like a wave we project into the universe, and in many cases, it comes back to us with a message or lesson. This return happens because, at some level, we are attracting what we still need to understand or heal. Imagine that your consciousness is like a radio, tuning into frequencies that match what you're emitting. Recurring thoughts about someone, therefore, reflect a frequency that needs our attention, as if there's a resonance that links you to that person. And this resonance rarely appears by chance. It emerges to reveal a part of us that still seeks alignment and clarity. Often, the reason someone stays in our thoughts is directly connected to a lesson we need to experience. Perhaps this person represents a quality or vulnerability that we have yet to recognize or accept within ourselves. They may embody traits we admire or unconsciously want to incorporate, or even aspects that challenge us and need to be worked through for us to break free from old limitations and beliefs. Spirituality teaches us that each person who enters our life is a mirror, and what we see in this mirror is always a part of ourselves, either a part we wish to develop or one we need to leave behind. If someone persistently occupies our thoughts, we may be called to look closely at what this person awakens in us. What emotions arise when we think of them? Are they feelings of love, longing, resentment, or forgiveness? Each emotion is a clue, a key to unlocking our own evolution. This is an invitation to let go of a reactive stance and adopt a growth perspective, taking responsibility for our own energy. Instead of asking why we're thinking of this person, we can ask ourselves, what are these thoughts trying to teach me? What part of me hasn't been fully seen, understood, or healed? Through this questioning, we begin to expand our vision and recognize that nothing is by chance. The universe is always inviting us to look within, to grow, and to align more deeply with our true essence. Think of this as a purification process. By bringing these thoughts to consciousness and allowing them to reveal their lessons, we take an important step in our spiritual journey. The person we think of may be teaching us to love unconditionally, to forgive, to break free from old patterns, or even to understand the value of gratitude. When we allow these teachings to manifest and be integrated, not only do we release the weight of repetitive thoughts, but we also raise our own frequency, becoming more aligned with our true essence and the greater purpose our soul seeks to experience. When we allow ourselves to reflect on the meaning of these persistent thoughts, we are, in fact, opening ourselves to a journey of self-discovery that goes beyond the person itself. It's an opportunity to uncover layers of ourselves that might otherwise remain hidden. The person occupying your mind may be acting as an anchor for something deeper, something that transcends the physical relationship and touches your spirit. Our repetitive thoughts often indicate that we are stuck in a specific emotional frequency. This frequency may be tied to attachment, the need for validation, the fear of loss, or even the desire for reconciliation. By observing these patterns, we can understand that often the person is not the true focus of our thoughts. In truth, what they awaken within us is what we're really seeking to resolve. They are a symbol, a portal to an aspect of ourselves that needs attention. It is through this process of self-observation that we start to realize how much our external experiences reflect what we carry within us. The person who remains in our thoughts is there to help us recognize these issues, serving as a constant reminder of the parts of ourselves that are calling for healing and integration. When we interpret these thoughts as messages from our own unconscious, we open a new path to understanding and, along with it, a genuine opportunity for transformation. Imagine, then, that each recurring thought is a chance to take another step toward your true self, free from patterns and external influences. This person in your mind could be the necessary trigger to deeply connect you with your most authentic spiritual and emotional needs. Every time you bring these thoughts into consciousness, you create space for them to be processed and eventually transformed. Allow yourself to ask the tough questions. Ask, does this person awaken a longing in me that I can fulfill myself? Is there an insecurity or fear that I need to embrace? By doing so, you release illusions and find the root of the feelings that truly need to be addressed. In this way, you start to see that the presence of this person in your thoughts is an opportunity to heal from the inside out. Ultimately, it's not about the other person, but about you and your capacity to grow and evolve. As you recognize this inner power, you see that you can transform these repetitive thoughts into an exercise of self-reflection. From this point on, each time this person's image appears in your mind, you can use it as a reminder to reconnect with your own center, your purpose, with what makes you whole. After all, true freedom comes when we understand that we don't depend on anyone to feel love, peace, or security. These are qualities that already exist within us, waiting to be awakened and cultivated. As we continue this journey of self-discovery, we begin to understand that the act of constantly thinking about someone is, in fact, a gateway to a deeper spiritual connection. The universe offers us these thoughts as a way to draw our attention to what is out of balance within us. Often, the intensity with which we think about someone reflects an unconscious need to heal an emotional wound, fill a void, or resolve an inner conflict. And by looking at these hidden needs, we find the true wisdom that these persistent thoughts have to offer. When we cling to a mental connection with another person, we are often projecting our expectations, fears, and unfulfilled desires onto them. We want them to symbolize something we need within ourselves, and this expectation creates an energetic dependence that reinforces the recurrence of these thoughts. But what if instead we choose to transform this connection into a path of personal empowerment? What if the energy we dedicate to these thoughts could be redirected toward our own growth and healing? This process begins with awareness. When we notice that a thought about someone is present, we can use it as a reminder to observe ourselves more deeply. Ask yourself, what am I really seeking by thinking about this person? Is it love, acceptance, security? By identifying what truly lies behind these thoughts, you become able to redirect that search inward. Rather than expecting someone else to fulfill these needs, you begin to find these qualities within yourself. This is an essential point on the spiritual journey. True fulfillment occurs when we realize that everything we seek in the outside world, whether love, security, or approval, already exists within us. By accessing these internal resources, we can transcend emotional dependence and cycles of obsessive thinking. Instead of seeking outside what we already possess within, we become whole in ourselves. This wholeness is the true power of expanded consciousness. Gradually, as we transform the way we view these connections, we may find that thoughts of this person naturally lessen, not because we are rejecting them, but because we are filling our own voids. The mind and heart begin to understand that there's no longer a need to cling to someone to find meaning, and by doing this, we enter a state of peace and freedom where we no longer need anyone to complete us. Finally, this practice teaches us the value of presence and gratitude. Instead of resisting or feeling frustrated by the thoughts, be grateful for the lesson they bring. Every time someone occupies your mind, remember that they are a mirror of your own evolution, a catalyst for your awakening. Thank the universe for allowing you to see these parts of yourself and feel grateful for the opportunity to become more aligned, more centered, and above all, more conscious. As we grasp the depth of these connections and the wisdom they carry, we enter a new level of self-knowledge. After all, the act of constantly thinking about someone reveals itself as a true invitation from the universe to look within. Each recurring thought is a chance to release old patterns, to learn to love ourselves more fully, and to free ourselves from the emotional ties that keep us bound to expectations and dependencies. However, for this transformation to occur, we must stop resisting these thoughts. Resistance creates tension, and tension only reinforces the presence of what we wish to overcome. Instead, we can accept that these thoughts exist and that they are here to teach us something. This simple act of acceptance already puts us in a state of openness, where we can start to see the true meaning behind each feeling and emotion. By accepting these thoughts, we can begin to dissolve the layers of emotional attachment that bind us to that person. Each time this person arises in your mind, you can turn this moment into a practice of self-compassion. Remember that this person is merely a reflection of your own emotional needs, and by embracing those needs, you empower yourself. Meditating on these feelings can help transform attachment into gratitude. Gratitude for the experience, the learning, and the clarity that comes from integrating these emotions. At this point, many ask, but how do I let go of someone who seems so deeply connected to my soul? This process involves reconnecting with your own heart and finding within it the source of everything you seek externally. When you become aware that peace, love, and wholeness already exist within you, the power that person once held over your thoughts begins to dissolve. It is a natural release, a lightness that arises as you recognize that everything you needed to find outside already exists in abundance within you. This is the essence of the spiritual journey, the realization that we are, in our essence, complete and enough. We are not here to find happiness in someone else, but rather to share with others the happiness we've already cultivated within ourselves. And in doing so, relationships become more authentic and liberating, no longer a necessity but a conscious choice. We are with someone because we want to be, not because we need to be. The connection ceases to be an attachment and becomes an expression of freedom and true love. At the end of this journey, you will realize that the person who occupied your thoughts was, in fact, one of your greatest teachers. They taught you about self-love, acceptance, and self-sufficiency. They showed you the importance of looking within and valuing the inner journey. By releasing this person with gratitude, you also free yourself to live fully with an open heart and with the clarity that true love begins within. Upon reaching this deeper understanding, we can finally see the true purpose behind this experience. Thinking constantly about someone, especially intensely and repeatedly, is a gateway to a transformation that goes beyond the relationship with that person. It's a process of internal refinement, where each thought and emotion guides us toward a higher version of ourselves. When we recognize this purpose, we begin to shift from a state of attachment to a state of liberation. Liberating oneself does not mean forgetting or erasing that person's presence from your mind, but rather transforming the nature of that connection. It is recognizing that by fulfilling your own needs and aligning with your own power, you no longer need to rely on someone else to feel complete. Practically, this means viewing each thought as an invitation to introspection, an opportunity to understand what you truly desire and where these longings originate. By doing so, you become the creator of your own reality. This brings in the understanding that every thought and emotion we nurture about someone not only affects our energy, but also sends a frequency into the universe. This frequency is like a wave that attracts experiences and relationships that match our internal state. So by aligning with wholeness, you start to attract relationships that reflect this state. Relationships born not from lack, but from a conscious choice to share your own fullness. At this point, gratitude becomes essential. The person who incessantly inhabited your thoughts was, in fact, a catalyst for your evolution. They brought forth emotions you needed to face, issues that needed healing, and lessons your soul was ready to learn. Be thankful for this experience, not as something that keeps you tied to the past, but as something that propelled you into a new phase of your journey. When we feel genuine gratitude, we release the energies of attachment and open space for something higher and more authentic. Practicing gratitude transforms what was once an obsession into a serene and enriching memory. The presence of this person in your life, whether physical or mental, served as a mirror, showing you what you needed to see. This mirror was not meant to keep you fixated on a particular person or experience, but rather to reflect your own power, your potential for healing, and your capacity to love yourself. And in the end, true freedom emerges. This is the moment when you look within and realize that what you sought was always within you. By releasing this person with love and gratitude, you give yourself a gift, the gift of living fully, of being present for your own life, and of experiencing the world from a free and open heart. This is the profound meaning of the spiritual journey of constantly thinking about someone, a path of self-knowledge, acceptance, and finally, liberation. And so, with this renewed awareness, you are ready to live your journey with greater clarity and purpose. Thank you for allowing this deep reflection. May it be a guide for your growth and fulfillment.